If swimmers want to swim fast butterfly, they need to maintain optimal alignment as they move through the stroke. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. In this video, we're going to discuss a strategy to help swimmers figure out the best way to move through the water in butterfly by minimizing the amount of resistance they create, by finding the best alignment for them, which is ultimately going to allow them to swim faster with less effort. Let's dive in. As with every stroke, alignment is key in butterfly. More drag, less speed. In particular with butterfly, due to the double arm recoveries, swimmers have to lift the body out of the water to get the arms out of the water. They can't recover the arms while staying really flat. They're going to have to undulate, and when they have to breathe, they're going to have to undulate a little bit more. When the head and the chest come up, the hips are going to go down. That means more drag, means swimmers are moving through the water like that. The goal is just enough lift to recover the arms with as little disruption of alignment as possible. That's what we're looking for. We got to get the arms out to minimize drag, but we also can't lift the upper body too much because that's going to create drag as well. It's finding the sweet spot that allows swimmers to move through the water with as little resistance as possible. The concept is pretty simple. However, that doesn't mean it's easy to do. The real challenge is that small, little mistakes in body posture can make a big difference in alignment and the amount of resistance that's created. Several small mistakes can add up to big losses in speed. And the issue is that as coaches, we can't always see them. Some of them are happening underwater, some of them are really subtle, and some of them just happen really fast. Plus, we're dealing with a lot of athletes, and it's difficult to see all these things all at the same time. The other issue is that swimmers often can't feel these mistakes. They've done it the same way over and over and over again, so it feels completely normal. They have no way to become aware of any mistakes that they're making or any losses in speed because to them, it's normal. Another issue is that there's no right way, there's no optimal way to move through the water because each swimmer's structure is a little bit different. Some swimmers are going to be able to get away with less undulation because they have more flexible shoulders. Some swimmers are going to have to lift a little bit more. Some people have heavier legs. Some people have lighter legs. Some people have longer legs. Some people have shorter legs. Some people have bigger lungs. There's all these different dynamics that affect how swimmers undulate, and it's impossible for us as coaches to know exactly how all those factors interact, and so it becomes difficult to know what an optimal solution is for that swimmer. Although, of course, there are certain principles. It's pretty obvious if a swimmer's dragging their arms through the water, or we can see their entire chest lift up as they take a breath, but beyond those extremes, it becomes more difficult to know what's going to be best. And so if we can't know what's going to be best, we have to find a solution that makes knowing what's best unnecessary. One of my favorite solutions is what I call the butterfly alignment progression. They're going to start off with streamline dolphin kicking at the surface with fins. Then they're going to go butterfly with fins, no air. Then they're going to go butterfly with fins 1 to 2 breaths. Then they're going to breathe every other stroke. Then they're going to breathe every stroke. And so the goal here is to move through the water with as little drag as possible at each step. They're going to start off with a really tight undulation. They're not going to have much drag. Then they're not going to be breathing. Then they're going to slowly add breaths. And as they do, they need to try to keep that same alignment as they had on that first repetition, trying to get as close to that as possible. And they're trying to become aware of where they're creating resistance, where they're feeling that resistance, and what they can do to minimize it. So we can overcome the problem of swimmers not being aware of what they're feeling by providing them with activities that allow them to feel what they're doing as they move through the water. So this progression really lets swimmers feel great alignment. We're starting off with great alignment, and then we're adding the stroke back in. And when we do so, they're trying to maintain that same low level of resistance, and it's more likely they're going to be able to feel when they do create more resistance. We're also going to use fins to go faster, and drag is greater at higher speeds. And so the more drag there is, the easier it's going to be able to feel. And hopefully they can use that awareness to start to make some changes. And if we can change what swimmers are feeling, we can give them a sensory target, that perfect alignment that we started with, and then we can ask them to change and try to match that. So we don't have to know exactly what the right solution is. We're providing them with the opportunity to be able to feel what they're doing, and that's going to equip them with the skills to make a change. But they add up, and as swimmers are able to get closer and closer to that ideal alignment for them, they're going to be swimming faster and faster. So how do we make this progression even more effective and provide a lot of different ways for swimmers to experience what we're trying to get them to feel? We can perform it at a variety of speeds, faster, slower, really fast. We can use different stroke rates, forcing swimmers to swim at higher rates to kind of get them to move through the stroke faster, or we can challenge them to maintain their alignment while using really low stroke rates. We can use resistance to also challenge them to execute the skills. We can use different training aids such as paddles. We can use the progression without fins. It's going to challenge them in a different way. They won't be moving quite as fast, but they're going to get a more natural feel to it. We can use different stroke counts. We can alternate the order of the progression. There are a lot of different ways that we can use the overall principle of providing them with a really low drag profile and then expanding and adding back in the stroke. We can execute it in a lot of different ways and provide a lot of different opportunities for swimmers to better feel what they're doing. And when they can better feel what they're doing, they're much more likely to be able to create the change that we're looking for and is ultimately going to result in them swimming faster. So here are 2 sets that implement this progression to help swimmers learn to better move through the water with butterfly to create less resistance. So the first set, they're going to go 4 rounds through, 25 streamlined dolphin kick on the surface with fins and a snorkel, then butterfly fins, no air, then 1 to 2 breaths, breathe every other stroke, breathe every stroke. So we're adding components of butterfly in, we're adding more breathing. They have to maintain that same alignment they have on that first 25 and then try to hold that all the way through. Each round gets faster. When they're first starting out, you can begin the set pretty relaxed and then move to solid speeds. When they have more experience, they can start pretty fast and end really fast. Again, trying to maintain that same low resistance profile throughout every 25. And in doing so, the hope is that they create more speed. The second set is 3 rounds through. They're going to go 4 50s butterfly with fins. The second 25 is always breathe every stroke. The first 25 is going to be streamlined dolphin kick on number 1, no air on number 2, 1 to 2 breaths on number 3, and then 25 breathe every other stroke on number 4. And so the goal here is to always try to execute really, really well with breathing that second 25, and they're setting it up. And they're setting up that first 25 with a little bit better profile, and they're going to try to hold on to that as much as they can that second 25. They're going to descend 1 to 3 across the rounds, try to get faster as they go. So 2 simple sets. There are infinite number of possibilities. Just remember the principle. Start really low profile, start to add pieces back in, and challenge swimmers to maintain as much of that low profile as possible. Hope that was helpful, and as always, keep it simple.